Hi guys, obviously options are coming up, and normally we would have had you in first year or second year in wee blocks into the music technology rooms and the studios, and we'd be showing you a wee bit about the music technology course. That doesn't always happen in any year because it's a very busy room and to do with timetable and things. So and obviously this year you might not have been in at all. So I'm going to take you very, very quickly through what music technology is, and it will hopefully help you make a more informed decision as to whether or not it's for you. It's a relatively new course, so if you want to watch this video through with your parents or people that might not know about the course, that's absolutely fine. Let's start off with some of the frequently asked questions. Do I need to play music in music technology? No. There's no music playing or performing. There's no need to perform in any way in music technology. The course is structured in a completely different way, and we'll get to that in a wee minute. Another frequently asked question is, do I need to write music in music technology? No, you don't need to write or play any music in music technology at all whatsoever. That's not to say you can't, because you can if you want, and again we'll get into that a wee bit later, but there's no need to play music or write music in any way in the music technology course. So the music technology course is focused primarily on sound recording and production. It's a predominantly practical course, and it involves a lot of working in the studio with microphones, and it involves working with computers, and ICT skills are always good to have on your CV. So even if you don't think that you're particularly good with computers, it might be a skill set that you want to learn. So why are music technology skills important? If you watch TV, if you watch films, adverts, if you watch sport, if you listen to music, if you play any games consoles at all, then you might be interested in this subject because every piece of sound you hear in TV or in a game was probably recorded with a microphone and then mixed in a studio. This includes everything from sound effects, actors' dialogue, presenters and commentators, to even the sound of a football being kicked from the corner flag. In fact, music technology skills like sound recording and sound production are integral to creating most of the digital media formats that you see all around us every day. So music technology skills are important in a variety of ways in today's world, and we'll get into that in detail as we go through this video. So what is it? What is music technology? Well, it might be quite obvious for things like animations, but even films that are shot on location will have most of the sound replaced. So all the films that you watch in the cinema or on Netflix, they've all had most of the sound replaced by re-recording the sound effects and the dialogue in a studio. And that goes for games too. All the dialogue in the game, the sound effects, right down to every footstep of the character has to be recorded and then imported into the game's engine so the game can call up that sound when the character moves or does anything. I'll give you a quick example here.
Figure this out together, Elsa.
How? What power do you have to stop this winter?
Those eyes add insult to injury.
Here and there with the rest of the commentary team, but we're basically there.
With a wink, maybe might have saved it.
Look, when I let people down, I'm very gentle.
As you probably guessed, music technology is pretty much anything that involves microphones, setting up microphones or recording sound, sound design, creating sound, or mixing sound. In fact, any media at all that has sound. So, what does the S3 course look like? Well, it's still in the broad general education, and what we really look at is a very practical course, and we start off looking at the Logic software, which is a Mac only software. So we use Mac Minis and iMacs to run the software, and it's a professional software. It's used in many commercial studios, and we use it because it's intuitive and it's really easy to learn on, and it has loads of things that it does almost for you to help you get started in music technology. And we then, once we get a grasp of the software, we start to look at what we call post-production skills. These are the skills we need to maybe make a voice sound like it's coming through a radio communication, such as a walkie-talkie or an earpiece. or to make a voice sound like it's higher in pitch.
If you need to make a minion sound, or if you need to make a chipmunk, or anything like that.
Or even to make it sound like someone speaking normally
is actually singing, or you can make people talking and make them sing.
We also use these skills to trick the audience's brain into thinking that sound has direction, so that if you're in the cinema or if you're wearing headphones, the sound will follow the direction of the visual on the screen. I'll give you a wee example of this. If you're wearing headphones, it'll maybe make sense. And this is also really important in ambisonic mixing as video games move into VR, and the way that we mix sound allows the gamer to have a fully immersive 360-degree sound experience. Post-production skills are also really important because once you've recorded all the sounds for a film or a game in a studio, it maybe won't sound right in the film because the character isn't in a studio. So you often need to use effects to recreate the sound of the room or the space that the character's in the film or the game, so that it sounds realistic. For example, the dialogue might be recorded in a studio, but in the film or a game the character's in a bathroom, and the sound in a bathroom will sound completely different to it in a studio. Or maybe they're in a big cave, and again the sound of someone speaking in a big cave would sound completely different to what it would in a studio. So once we've kind of mastered the post-production skills, we start to look at recording skills and the different ways we can record, and the different ways to set up microphones, and the different microphones we use for different things, and the different pickup patterns of microphones, and what microphones are best for what situation. And we have quite a range of microphones in the school. We have a load of different studio mics, and we have also mics for outside broadcasts, so we can go outside with a big boom pole and the shotguns, and we can do live interviews and things like that. So we look at how to operate the studio safely, set up microphones, how to communicate with the actors and performers through the talkback and the headphones, and then we look at listening skills, and this kind of makes up a smaller part of the course, but it's the stuff that you really need in order to use your practical skills properly. So this is a wee bit like ear training, to allow you to hear sounds the way maybe a musician would hear music, and to be able to improve the way that you use your post-production skills and your editing and your effects. This listening section is also where the music part of music technology comes in. We teach you a wee bit about music production and the different technologies that have evolved through the years and how that's changed music as we know it. And there's a few music concepts in this section as well, but it makes up a very, very small part of the course. And although you don't actually have to actually create a music production until higher level, so at National 5 level, for example, your two productions for your folio could be sound design for video game and foley for film. The actual exam paper, which makes up about 30%, will have some of the music production concepts in there and some of the music concepts in there. Obviously 70% of the course is your folio, and that's the bulk of it in the main part. And then once we've got all the skills together, you go and make your own project. So once we have all our skills down and we know what we're doing in the studio and what all the buttons do, and we know about Logic and the software and how to add post-production effects and do edits, we then begin our third year project. And this is just a production of any kind, anything that uses microphones. You can do it in groups or you can do it individually. And for this project, you'll either, if you're in a group, you'll share the different roles, from a recording engineer to a mixing engineer to doing edits to being the producer. And if you're doing it individually, then you are the producer and you need to run that whole thing. Whatever team and whoever you get in to do your stuff, you need to run every session and book the studio. Yeah, you're in charge of managing the time frame and making sure the sessions run on time, and all that kind of stuff. And you do all the recording and you do all the mixing and the editing. And even for a 30-second to 1 minute film clip or a trailer, it's actually quite a lot of work. So the second half of the year is mainly focused on doing practical productions. The one production that you do in third year can be anything at all that involves a microphone. So it can be sound design for a video game, Foley for a film trailer or a film clip, dialogue for a film trailer or a film clip, it can be recording a song, it can be commentary for a sporting event, it can be a podcast or a radio show. Anything that I've not mentioned that you can come up with, be creative and just pick something that you want to work on. And at the end of that, you should have something that's film quality. You could show it in a cinema, you could show it on any social media platform, and it would be as professional as anything else that you would see. So obviously we spoke about skills earlier, and obviously there's a lot of using computers in this course, so there's quite a lot of ICT skills, and it may be a good opportunity for you to develop ICT skills using a new software on a new format. Most jobs these days will require you to learn a new software at some point. But in the bulk, the course is practical. There's a lot of practical skills, whether you're in the studio recording using microphones, or whether you're out on location using microphones, or whether you're at the computer using your skills in post-production. The main part of this course is practical. Obviously, being within the creative industries, there are a lot of creative thinking skills required. And the creative decisions that you make, even down to what kind of music would work best with what advert or what film trailer, these are the kind of decisions that you might make that someone else would make differently, and that's what makes them creative. But you also have to think outside the box for loads of reasons. When you're creating things like Foley, you need to think, right, well, I need the sound of a horse. I can't bring a horse into the studio. I need the sound of someone being shot by an arrow. I'm not going to shoot someone with an arrow. And you have to break all these sounds down into the bow being pulled back, and then the arrow releasing, and what is the arrow going to hit, and how should it sound. So there's quite a lot of creative thinking in this course. There's obviously quite a lot of problem solving, because a lot of the time, for example, if you're in the studio, you might not be getting sound from the microphone, and there's different points where something might not be set right, and you have to think about the signal flow and the path of that audio and what it's all going through. And usually it's something very simple, but you have to go through and problem solve to find the issue. There's a lot of planning and organisation in the course. If you're a producer, you're responsible for making sure that the production runs on time, making sure that each session runs on time, when to leave something and edit it rather than trying to get a perfect take. You're in charge of all the team that you hire and the people that you use, and you need to make sure they turn up on time and everything gets done on time, because studio time is quite scarce. So when you're in the studio, everything has to run like clockwork. Communication skills are particularly important in doing things like this. You have to be able to communicate with your actors or your performers or your musicians or your talent of any kind. You've got to be able to communicate what you want, and you have to be able to say, right, no, can we try that again? It was very good, but I'd like it more like this or more like that. Communication skills are imperative to getting the results that you want in your production. And of course, because of that, working with others is a very important skill. To be able to make sure that your production runs properly, you have to be able to make sure that your team are engaged in the project. It's always good if you can make them feel like some of their input's used and appreciated. It's always good if you can make sure that you have a team of people that you work well with, and being that there's a lot of leadership in this, it's down to you to manage and make sure that everybody that's involved in your production is happy with what they're doing, and is doing the right thing and the thing that you want, and that maybe they feel like they have a bit of input and they're enjoying being a part of your production. So I'd like to very quickly talk you through careers and future study options from music technology and where it can take you. Although the course is music technology and it's obviously more focused on recording sound and recording music, it can branch out into other courses. So there's loads of other courses such as film and TV and media and games design that are worth looking into. In terms of apprenticeships, most of the big broadcasters do apprenticeships. So there's the BBC Academy and BBC Apprenticeships. There's one at Ward Park in Cumbernauld where I think they do the sound for Outlander, and that's done through Creative Scotland. You'll find it on the website. So there's quite a lot of apprenticeships from major broadcasters in this kind of thing for sound engineering and production. And although some areas of the live sound industry has taken a slight dip, such as concerts and theatre production, and it might take some time to recover, there's other things like sport and TV and advert who have managed in the most part to keep running. And obviously there's the games industry, which was always a really big industry in Scotland due to Rockstar Games, and that kind of industry is having a big boom just now because a lot of people at home gaming. So I hope this has been helpful, and if you have any questions you can get in touch, or your parents can get in touch, and hopefully I'll see some of you next year in third year music technology.